Imagine waking up to complete silence, no hum of the refrigerator, no glow from your smartphone, and no buzzing alarm clock. For most of us, this would be a nightmare. But for Elias, it was the start of the most unexpected day of his life. Let's dive into the story to see how it actually feels to hit the pause button on our modern lives. In the end of this story, you'll get to learn 5 useful vocabulary words. The morning began differently. Usually, the digital alarm clock screams at 7 a.m., but today, there was only silence. I blinked, squinting at the dark room. I reached for my phone, but the screen remained stubbornly black. I pressed the power button again, then again, but nothing happened. I walked to the kitchen and flipped the light switch. Nothing. I looked out the window, expecting to see the neighborhood lights or the morning traffic, but the street was eerily still. A strange, heavy quiet hung in the air. That's when I realized the power grid had failed. "Sarah," I called out, my voice sounding louder than usual in the empty apartment. My roommate stumbled into the hallway, looking just as confused as I felt. "Did you notice?" she asked, rubbing her eyes. "Everything is dead, even the coffee maker." I sighed, feeling a sudden surge of frustration. "I guess we're doing this the old-fashioned way today," I said, trying to force a smile. We were both working from home, and this blackout was going to make our schedules impossible. We opened the curtains to let in the natural light. Without the artificial hum of electronics, the city sounded different. I could hear birds chirping in the park across the street, a sound I had never noticed during the noisy morning rush. "I have a deadline at noon," Sarah said, sitting at the dining table. She opened her laptop, but of course, the battery was drained. She stared at the blank screen for a moment, then sighed and closed it with a soft thud. I looked at my own desk. It was covered in documents and a dead computer. For a few minutes, we both just sat there, feeling lost. We were so used to being constantly connected that silence felt uncomfortable, almost heavy. "What do you want to do?" Sarah asked, leaning back in her chair. I looked around the apartment. Without the distraction of screens, the place looked different. I noticed a stack of books gathering dust on the shelf and an old acoustic guitar tucked in the corner. "Let's make some breakfast," I suggested. "We have a gas stove, so at least we can have tea." We moved to the kitchen, working together to prepare a meal. Without the television playing in the background, we actually talked, not about work or emails, but about our goals and our fears. The hours passed slowly. Without electricity, time seemed to stretch. We didn't rush to check notifications or scroll through social media feeds. Instead, I spent the afternoon reading a book by the window while Sarah sketched in her notebook. It was surprising how much we could focus when there were no distractions. My mind felt clearer, less cluttered. I hadn't realized how much of my mental energy was consumed by the constant noise of the digital world. By late afternoon, the sun began to set, painting the sky in soft shades of orange and purple. We decided to light a few candles. The flickering flames cast long, dancing shadows on the walls, making the apartment feel warmer and more intimate. "It's peaceful, isn't it?" Sarah whispered. She was right. There was a unique kind of beauty in the stillness. We were disconnected from the internet, but somehow, I felt more connected to my surroundings than I had in months. We spent the evening playing cards by candlelight. We laughed until our stomachs hurt, enjoying the simple pleasure of each other's company. There was no pressure to be anywhere else, no digital tasks to complete. As the night deepened, the silence became comforting rather than eerie. We looked out at the city. It was dark, save for the faint glow of candles in other windows. Others were experiencing this quiet, too. I started to reflect on our modern lives. We spend so much time running after convenience, yet we often miss the reality happening right in front of us. We are constantly plugged in, but sometimes we forget how to just be. When I finally laid down to sleep, my mind wasn't racing with a to-do list. The day had been inconvenient, yes, but it had also been a gift. It was a rare chance to hit the pause button on the world. I didn't need the digital reminders or the artificial light to feel complete. I realized that the things I thought I couldn't live without were actually just background noise. The next morning, the power returned with a sudden, sharp click. The refrigerator buzzed to life, and the router started flashing its usual green lights. The apartment flooded with the familiar, frantic energy of modern life. I walked to the kitchen and looked at the light switch. I didn't turn it on immediately. I stood there for a moment, keeping the quiet a little longer, holding onto the peace I had discovered in the dark. True presence isn't found in being connected to the world. It is found in being connected to yourself and the people around you. Sometimes, we have to step away from our digital lives to remember what truly matters. 5 useful vocabulary words. 1. Eerily, in a strange, frightening, or mysterious way. Example, the old house was eerily quiet at midnight. I could hear my own heartbeat. 2. Stumble, to walk or move in a clumsy or unsteady way. Example, I was so tired this morning that I stumbled out of bed and almost fell over the chair. 3. Cluttered, filled with too many things, making it messy or disorganized. Example, it is hard to focus on my homework when my desk is so cluttered with old papers and pens. 4. Intimate, having a close, personal, and comfortable feeling. Example, the cafe has a very intimate atmosphere, perfect for having a deep conversation with a close friend. 5. Inconvenient, causing trouble, difficulty, or annoyance. Example, it is very inconvenient when the internet stops working right before an important online meeting. Thank you for practicing with me today. Listen to the story once to understand the main idea, then listen again while following the text to improve your reading and pronunciation. For an extra challenge, try the shadowing technique by speaking along with the narrator. Keep practicing!